Coming up on Tech News Today, those spunky humans land a car on Mars with a sky crane. eBay tests same-day delivery. And what if Zynga loses to EA? All that and more coming up.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by Cachefly at cachefly.com.
This is Tech News Today for Monday, August 6th, 2012. Tech News Today is brought to you by the new Squarespace. Squarespace introduces a new content management system, making it faster and easier to create a high-quality website or blog. Plus, more than 50 new features, including mobile responsive designs with automatic device scaling. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase, go to squarespace.com and use offer code TNT8. And by GoToMeeting with HD Faces by Citrix. It just takes a webcam and a click to turn your online meeting into a high-definition video conference. Meet with colleagues anywhere in the world, even from an iPad. Sign up for your 30-day free trial today. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click on the Try It Free button, and use promo code TNT. Welcome to Tech News Today. I'm Tom Merritt.
I'm Sarah Lane.
I'm Iyaz Akhtar.
I'm Jason Howell.
And this is the show where we keep you up to date on the most important stories in the tech world, try to give you some context, starting with the top 10 stories of the day in the news feeds. Last night, the Mars Science Laboratory, a.k.a. Curiosity, successfully landed on Mars at 10:14 p.m. Pacific time. 14 minutes later, NASA received the signal on Earth, and at 10:32 p.m. Pacific, the control room erupted in celebration. Curiosity now begins its mission to explore the geology of Gale Crater, including looking for evidence of conditions favorable to life.
I want to be even more paranoid about passwords than ever.
Why?
You'll love the story.
What have people been telling you about me?
Tom. A hacker got into journalist Matt Honen's iCloud account over the weekend and used his information to do a few things. Remote wipe his iPhone, remote wipe his iPad, and remote wipe his MacBook before moving into his Twitter account and then former employer Gizmodo's publishing tool. Yikes. He initially thought that the hackers had used brute forcing to gain access, but it turns out Apple gave the hackers access to his iCloud account after some social engineering designed to avoid answering security questions.
It's people. They're the problem. eBay announced a new service called eBay Now that offers same-day delivery via a new iOS app. Right now, the service is in beta and is limited to San Francisco. eBay has lined up several retailers, including Target, Best Buy, and Toys R Us. If you're in the San Francisco area, you can sign up for the beta.
Best Buy has sort of been teetering on that same cliff of collapse that downed big names like Borders, Circuit City, and other big box retailers since the rise of e-commerce. In June, founder Richard Schulze stepped down as chairman. Now, Schulze has offered $24 to $26 a share to buy the company from its stockholders and take it private. Schulze leads a group of private equity firms and believes extensive changes are needed to bring Best Buy back to market leadership. Stock market seems to agree with him.
Nuance wants to bring its voice recognition technology to third-party apps in addition to what they already offer, first-party apps. The project is called Nina. It's a suite of voice-powered personal assistant technologies that businesses such as banks or insurance companies could build into their apps with the offered SDK. Nina offers three main features: a biometric voice unlock for logging in, classic voice recognition, and natural language understanding that's contextually aware to help you navigate through multiple steps.
3 employees of Baidu, China's leading search engine, were arrested on suspicion of having accepted bribes to delete posts from its forums. Things got even worse for the 3 as Baidu also fired them and another person who was not arrested.
Apple's head of iOS software, Scott Forstall, testified in the U.S. Samsung-Apple patent trial on Friday and created some hot reading for Apple fans. An email chain showed that Apple began seriously considering a 7-inch tablet as early as January 2011. Forstall also told the tale of the development of the iPhone under the code name Project Purple. Meanwhile, in Australia, where the two companies are in another trial, Samsung accused Apple of improperly influencing expert witnesses.
Really glad it's not called a purple.
The iPurple.
Glad that stayed internal. On the heels of worldwide blockbuster sales of the Galaxy S3, Samsung wants to give you $300 for your existing smartphone if you switch to one of Samsung's phones. Consumers can get a quote for their phone, purchase a Samsung phone, and then mail in the old phone within 30 days, at which point Samsung will mail back a check for the device. You can find out more at samsungupgrade.com.
Nice. Good deal. Amazon UK reports it now sells more ebooks than printed books. For every 100 print books sold in 2012 so far. Amazon UK has sold 114 ebooks. That figure counts hardbacks and paperbacks together for that print number and does not count free ebooks in the digital number. No word on if anyone reads the books they buy, though.
Hey, some Samsung news that's not about a lawsuit. That's nice.
Huh?
Samsung released details of its Galaxy Note 10.1. That's the tablet with the stylus so you can draw to your heart's content. It'll be running Ice Cream Sandwich using a quad-core Exynos processor with 2 gigabytes of RAM. There will be Wi-Fi and 3G versions, which will launch this year in August, and an LTE version to hit later this year. Actually, it's August now, so it's coming soon.
This episode of Tech News Today brought to you by the new Squarespace.com. If you haven't taken a look, they've got some great improvements on what was already a really good way to blog. It's faster, it's easier than ever to create a high-quality website or blog. I use it for the Sword and Laser show, and I recommend you go try it. They've launched a new content management system called the new Squarespace, which uses the latest web technologies, HTML5, CSS3, new JavaScript foundations. It's fast, it's flexible, and the cool thing is they've developed new templates with mobile-ready responsive designs. So once you pick a new template for your site, if somebody goes to it on a tablet or a smartphone, it's going to adapt itself to the tablet or smartphone interface. So it looks right, it works well, but it's still got the great design and all the information that you put into your blog. Images are automatically versioned to 7 ways to accommodate viewing on all those different devices. But you don't have to take our word for it. Go try it. Try the Instagram plugin. Try the Facebook and Twitter plugins. Try the Google Plus plugins. Import your old blog and just see what it looks like on those new mobile devices. If you like what you see, after signing up for that free account, which, by the way, you don't need a credit card to sign up for, you can purchase the service and get a discount by using this offer code TNT8. Get 10% off your first purchase on new Squarespace accounts. Whether you sign up for the monthly or the annual plan, you're going to get 10% off that entire purchase. And don't forget about free domain registration with annual plan subscriptions. So, like I said, go try it. You don't need to give them a credit card. If you like it, use that offer code TNT8. And get 10% off your new account. And we thank Squarespace for their support of Tech News Today. Let's start off talking about that Curiosity rover landing. And joining us was the guy who helped me cover it last night, Mr. Jonathan Strickland from HowStuffWorks.com. Are you awake, John?
I am bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
That's good. It was pretty fun and pretty easy to stay up and watch the landing last night. As we mentioned, successfully touched down. If you haven't heard about how crazy the landing was, there was a parachute, there was a sky crane, lots of things that could go wrong. It was not under direct control by NASA, and it all went well. Landed in Gale Crater at the foot of a mountain. 17 cameras, several remote sensing instruments, including a laser-driven breakdown spectrometer, an X-ray spectrometer, an X-ray diffraction instrument, a radiation assessment detector, all on board, plus a lot of other detectors. Several countries involved in this. U.S. led the way, of course, but Finland, Spain, Canada, Russia, France, Germany, all participated in the mission. And I think one of the fun things to look at today is all the exploding memes out there. John, you said the first thing that you saw this morning is a leaked picture of the parachute landing.
Yeah, it was. I thought that this was really an interesting thing, that people were so passionate about this rover that they actually took the trouble of leaking a photo. You know, to get a hold of a photo of this lander with the parachute deployed. It was taken by the high-rise camera aboard an orbiter that's going around Mars, and the NASA was unveiling this at 9 a.m. Pacific time this morning at their press conference. But the photo got leaked early. It ran on a couple different places, and then was officially unveiled shortly after 9 a.m. Pacific time. And it's a gorgeous photo. You can actually make out the capsule as well as the parachute, and it's just phenomenal to think that we captured that moment.
Seems like it would have been a great opportunity to put some message on the top of the parachute.
I'm kind of concerned about NASA security if that image is getting leaked ahead of time. But I mean, I was watching TWiT's coverage of the landing, and just the insane plan for this to even work, actually working. It fires off the rover itself. It's got a parachute down. It's got to do all these things that shouldn't work. This shouldn't work, but it did. I was amazed that it worked, and I was like, great, $2.5 billion well spent, because I want to see what the Curiosity is going to do next.
Yeah, I said that if you had told me 5 years ago that we were going to land a 1-ton vehicle on the surface of Mars, and we were going to do it with a rocket-powered crane, I would have told you that's a really cool high concept movie pitch you have. James Cameron's the only guy who could do it. So the fact that we were able to take this crazy idea and make it a reality and actually have it work is, I mean, it blows my mind. It is absolutely phenomenal. And we haven't even gotten to the science yet.
Yeah, exactly. The mission is actually just beginning now. Now it goes and starts testing the atmosphere, testing rocks, using that laser to evaporate minerals and test the composition of them and search for evidence of water and evidence of the kinds of materials that would be available if Mars could have supported life or did support life at any point.
Or currently does support life.
Well, there's been a lot of conspiracy theories that one of the reasons that all the Mars probes have failed, because there was only a 30% overall success rate in the past, was aliens.
The first image is a giant shadow. I'm like, is that an alien? No, that's just the rover itself. Rover.
I'm told that is all just ridiculous, and that you should pay no attention to those rumors. So.
Bobak Ferdowski is getting a lot of attention today. He is a NASA team member who was in the control center yesterday with a mohawk. He's now like incredibly popular on the internet, and a lot of people are saying he should go talk to schools, get kids excited in science. People in Times Square gathered and were watching the landing, chanting science, and NASA. Just really exciting stuff yesterday. I guess the only downside is NASA's own video of the landing. Well, there's also the GIF of the guy dancing that's making the rounds as well. The only downside is that NASA's own video of the landing got caught in the YouTube bot and was pulled down temporarily because of Scripps Local News having a rebroadcast of the landing up, and then the bot said, "Oh, well, they have the copyright on all this." So another example of how the DMCA just kind of messes with things. But NASA got the video back up, so all's well in the end. Sarah, did you watch it last night?
No, I was actually coming back from being away over the weekend, so by the time I got home, I mean, I knew what was happening. By the time I got home, I was a little bit late to have watched any of this live, but I fired up Twitter, and it was really fun to piece together, not only that I knew that it had been successful, but just all the images that people are sharing. And I mean, even though it was overwhelmingly, everybody is very positive, this is very exciting, you do get those people who are like, what a crappy photo. Like, I can't even see anything.
Well, the first one was extremely low resolution, right? But it takes a long way to get a good photo.
It's fun to watch the reactions in real time, and then you get a few naysayers, and you're kind of piecing together what has happened. So I was following along virtually. A few minutes after the fact.
We're going to get a lot of good videos and photo from this thing as it takes the time to compile them and send them back to Earth. There's a video from the bottom of the lander as it was descending that we should get within a week. There's also some high-resolution color videos that should be coming to us as well. So some impressive stuff as well as the science and part of the science that'll be coming along. We got other tech stories to talk about today, too. eBay launching a same-day shipping service. Were we talking about Amazon doing this?
Yeah, this is actually something that's happening now, although it's very limited. It's an iOS app only called eBay Now, and it's sort of an alpha in San Francisco. So the deal is that if you are using the app, which is still by invitation only, in San Francisco, you can order from any store that's on eBay's Milo platform. So some of the stores included are Macy's or Toys R Us, Target, Best Buy, so big retailers. It's available for residents between Monday and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Sunday from 9 to 6. Deliveries can arrive in as little as an hour, but the store has to be open at least 30 minutes after orders made. So store closes at 10. You can't order something at 9:59 and expect to get it in an hour. You also have to spend at least $25. Now, the deal with this is, yeah, as you mentioned, Tom, we heard some rumblings that Amazon was going to be able to launch a same-day service. We don't know that they're not doing that, although the CFO, Tom Suzutak, had said in their last earnings call, we don't really see a way to do same-day delivery on a broad scale economically. Doesn't mean that they can't figure out how to do it in select metropolitan areas where I think this sort of thing ends up working out really well. So this is kind of what eBay is beating them to the punch on. And it's also a TechCrunch article about this had dubbed this the emergence of convenience tech, which is actually something that we have seen in the past.
It's not the worst buzzword I've heard.
Right. Well, I mean, we've seen stuff like this. Cosmo.com was great convenience tech, right? didn't end up lasting, but not because people don't like convenience, because it was a flawed model for a variety of reasons. At least in San Francisco, which is particularly interesting for eBay to launch in, is that there are a lot of small independent startups right now that are doing pretty much the exact same thing. They don't have big partners necessarily like Macy's or Best Buy, but the idea is there's an app, there's one I've used before called Get It Now, where they have select partners. You basically have a runner, goes and gets you the burrito that you don't feel like walking a mile down to get from your favorite store. They bring it back, you pay an extra delivery fee, and the whole transaction is done conveniently within an app.
That sounds like TaskRabbit, where you're just saying, hey, somebody go do something for me, and they don't have to have partnerships necessarily.
Exactly. But then a car service like Uber is like, I want to be picked up from this location right now. I've got an app. It can geolocate me. Somebody comes within 10 minutes, takes me. And the whole thing is worth more to me than the equivalent taxi ride would have been with the trouble of standing on the street and hailing somebody. So the whole idea of this is, I think, really exciting. What I worry about is, I mean, a company like eBay, the whole thing is that they have to make money off of these delivery fees or something extra, or it doesn't really make any sense. A company like eBay can say, at least off of the bat, well, we'll just cut that delivery fee in half. Yeah. Or maybe we won't even offer it right at the beginning so that you get really used to this way of doing things, because we have a lot of money. We're a big established company. We have revenue coming in from other sides.
We can absorb those costs.
Which is kind of the Amazon model in many ways. Amazon does, you know, they'll undercut competitors because they just want you to get hooked. So I worry, well, I mean, it's not really my job to worry, but I do wonder if services like TaskRabbit and Get It Now, there's another one called Instacart, have really got their work cut out for them once eBay said, okay, we like what you're doing, people seem to like the service, and we'll offer it, and we're a big company that can
push you around.
Well,
essentially.
Minimize the fees so that you end up going with us.
I wonder if eBay is going to incentivize any retailers, maybe lower transaction fees on PayPal or something, if you sign up with us on our same-day delivery. Because I'm kind of curious about how this is going to integrate with their mobile payment strategy. Because there might be some kind of, there's a way to connect the two. I'm just not seeing it just yet. I would love for this to work, because I don't want to leave the house. It's really simple. So,
well, yeah, I mean, you just pay by PayPal in the app. That's the way to integrate the mobile strategy. Done. I mean, the mobile strategy is when you're there in person, can you pay with PayPal? But with this, you're at home. You don't have to go anywhere. So I mean, I think what they're all up to here is, let's make it so that you can get what you want wherever you want, however you want. If you're out and about, you can pay with PayPal on mobile. Make it easy. If you're at home, you can have it delivered to you sometimes within an hour. And I don't know. This isn't directly competing with things like TaskRabbit or Get It Now, because those services provide a wider net. They're not limited to partnerships, whereas eBay's going like, okay, we're going to partner with Macy's, we're going to partner with Toys R Us, we're going to partner with Target,
right?
So that you're integrating into their catalog, which is a different way of going about it. But I think it's smart for eBay to become that platform. I wonder though if companies like Best Buy, which obviously may get taken back over by its founders, say we want to do this ourselves. Is there still a need for eBay then?
Well, I think what eBay has over some company like Best Buy doing it themselves is, it's not just Best Buy. I mean, if I want Best Buy to bring me the camera card that I need within an hour, that's fine and good. But what if I want to also add a toy because a kid's birthday is coming up and Toys R Us is an eBay partner? I mean, it just gives you more flexibility in the whole marketplace. It's the same reason that people like Amazon. I mean, yes, you can go to Best Buy's website directly, but if you can buy the same thing on Amazon because you're already kind of in there buying other things, that's attractive to a lot of people. It's going to a mall. It's all kind of the similar ideas, that you have convenience of these big retailers that have a lot of stuff that you need in one place.
You know, I think actually that now, if I were Best Buy, I would probably be more prone to use another company like eBay to get this sort of delivery service done. Because when you think about the logistics of what you need in order to do this, that's a big infrastructure. I mean, you're talking about vehicles, you're talking about employees, lots of drivers. It's a lot of stuff you have to take care of and you have to administer on top of whatever your normal business is. I could very easily see companies say, I would rather partner with eBay so they take care of all that for me. I can meet the needs of my customers. I can keep my customers, and I don't have to deal with all that headache on my own.
And this, I think, is really smart for eBay because I go to Amazon to buy things online first. That doesn't mean I only ever shop there, but they've definitely got the mind share with me of like, oh, if I want something delivered to my house, I go to Amazon. If eBay can trump them and say, we're going to deliver it to you the same day, I will definitely start checking to see if things are there a lot of the time because I want that convenience. It's exactly what you're talking about, the convenience tech.
I think people who have been using eBay over the years knows that it's much more than just Iyaz has something, he'd like $50 for it, so I'm going to bid on that something and maybe I'll outbid Tom. eBay still is that core business, but it is a lot of other things. And if they can capture this market as we're the place to get something in the fastest amount of time with, you know, as little extra added onto the price for you, the consumer, and beat Amazon, then we have a war on our hands.
The war has been declared. Does this cost you extra? I don't remember seeing anything about it.
I think it's a $5 delivery fee on top.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, and it's a $25 minimum.
Okay.
So if you think about it, you ask yourself the question, is this service worth $5 versus the frustration of having to either wait or go out and get this myself? For me, the answer to that is almost always yes, because like Iyaz, I don't want to leave the house.
Well, and it's also what you're getting, right?
Yeah,
I mean, when I order a burrito that's $8 and my service charge is $9, all of a sudden that's not an attractive. I mean, I really have to be desperate, which has happened, but that's $17 for a burrito.
That's when you order 8 burritos.
Exactly. More for your dollar.
Let's talk about ARM's new GPU upgrades that will help us make our smart devices look a little better.
Yeah, forget about 8 burritos. 8 cores we're talking about. ARM announced its
8 burrito cores.
No burritos in these cores, as far as I know. No apples in these cores either. ARM announced a 2nd generation GPU, and ARM is the major player in CPUs when it comes to mobile, but not in GPUs. They have about 20% of the Android market right now, and this thing is called the T600. It's going to offer 50% performance boost compared to its last generation GPUs. ARM is saying some really interesting things as to what this GPU can do. Apparently, it can handle consoles class gaming. So Xbox 360, PS3, it's got that level of it's got that ability. Then it's also supposed to be able to handle 4K and 8K videos. And that also means that your UI on your phone could have 60 frames per second on its transitions. So this is supposed to come out, I think, next year in 2013. ARM is using its own compression algorithm called Adaptive Scalable Texture Compression. And this is something they plan to license to everybody. It's not a standard. ARM obviously licenses its designs to everybody. And they're trying to make inroads against its major competitor, which is called Imagination. They handle about half of the GPUs in smart mobile devices last year, including iPads and iPhones. So our phones or tablets are going to get crazy powerful next year. I'm just thinking, like, if you can have that level of gaming on your tablet or phone, I mean, what does that do for the PC? I mean, why are you going to bother to carry around one of these things? Other than the fact.
Are you saying it's a post-PC era, Iyaz?
I said nothing of this sort. I'm just very curious.
But it's another step in that direction, right?
Yeah.
If it's another reason to say, oh, well, now I can do this on my tablet.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking that this is going to be really interesting for Windows RT, really, because that's running on ARM already. And if you can really make it, this I think is going to make it a lot easier to produce content on a tablet. Jonathan, are you excited about your next phone since you you upgrade every, 6 years?
Yes, that's right. I upgrade every 6 years. No, of course I'm excited about this. This is really cool stuff. ARM has really already revolutionized technology in the sense of designing these processors that are incredibly efficient. So you've got nice long battery life. They don't produce a lot of heat, which of course is incredibly important in mobile electronics. The ARM processor designs are what have made I guess you can't really overstate it. It's what's made our mobile lifestyles possible. So to see this development also with GPUs where you're having the access to parallel processing for all sorts of applications. I mean, we all think of the graphics stuff because of GPU, but it goes so far beyond that with lots of different applications. Anything that really uses parallel processing can tap into this. It's incredibly exciting to me. So I'm definitely looking forward to this and seeing what is possible with both the processor design and this compression algorithm.
That and ARM powers about 70% of smart TVs. So that means your televisions could become, game consoles on their own if they wanted to be. I don't know why you'd need that. But I know for apps and smart televisions in general, they're pretty pokey, pretty slow when it comes to showing you animations if you're trying to get through Netflix or something like that. So that would be a nice improvement for televisions, a nice little boost. Then when you're going through your widgets or whatever, you'll be able to see it smoothly and neatly.
I think this is very significant because I do believe that people are tempted to replace their desktop and laptops, or at least relegate desktops and laptops to different functions. And they want their tablets and smartphones to do all of the things that they do. Even if they're not going to replace them, they want them to do the things that they're used to being able to do on their desktops and laptops. And I think it's interesting because it's ARM. We've seen a revolution in mobile devices partly because ARM licenses their design. So you can have Apple using an ARM design. You can have Microsoft using an ARM design. NVIDIA, best known for making GPUs, now makes ARM-designed processors that are powering tablets. It'd be interesting to see what they do, or if they do anything with this GPU design. Wow. Let's take a break and thank our sponsor, GoToMeeting with HD Faces. If this summer you and your team will be working from different locations, you know it's going to be hard to get together, first of all. And then you say, oh, I'll do a phone conference. Those are full of misunderstandings. You can't show people things. You can't see whether someone's listening or understanding what you're saying. That's why we recommend GoToMeeting. You can meet online with clients and colleagues from anywhere. GoToMeeting by Citrix allows you to collaborate on files and plans online. And with HD Faces, all you need is just a webcam. Turn your online meeting into a group high-definition video conference. You can even participate in an HD Faces meeting from your iPad, so you can connect from wherever you are. You at the beach? You with your kids out at the park? Doesn't matter. You can be in your backyard and still be part of the conference, and people can see you and you can show them things. We use GoToMeeting. We love GoToMeeting here at TWiT. We use it for all kinds of conversations with clients, with people about IT, so you can demonstrate things. You can see that people are understanding. They can see that we're understanding, which is important as well. So work smarter this summer with GoToMeeting with HD Faces. Our listeners can try it free for 30 days. Don't wait for the special offer. Visit gotomeeting.com. That's GOTOMEETING.com. Click on the Try It Free button and use the promo code TNT. Be sure to use the promo code TNT. And we thank GoToMeeting for their support of Tech News Today. So EA is suing Zynga and got a lot of people talking.
Yeah, that's right. This is a lawsuit started in the Ninth Circuit Court. EA says Zynga's game The Ville is a ripoff of EA's game The Sims Social. Now, this is certainly not the first time that Zynga has been accused of ripping off another game. Just a couple of them that I can think of off the top of my head. Mafia Wars, copying Mob Wars. It's actually something that they settled over, so it's not as if they got off scot-free. Dream Heights was widely regarded as a Tiny Tower ripoff. The folks behind Tiny Tower kind of took it to the streets. Then again, this is difficult, as any legal expert like Iyaz would tell you. It's a gray area. It's not actually illegal to copy game ideas. The illegality is in the game details themselves. Zynga points out, listen, okay, The Sims Social uses core mechanics on Facebook, which is something that Zynga actually put together. Now, we're not going after you, EA,
right.
or not yet anyway, saying you're ripping off some of our game general ideas, even if it's not the details, the mechanics. Energy system, for example, that's something that Zynga can say that they got to first. Things like gifting, land maintenance, that sort of thing. The characters between the two games are really similar. I mean, you can look at a couple screenshots of different characters. You know, the Sims
Zynga
Social
ones seem to have bigger heads.
Right. Well, they're smarter. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know that that's true at all. There are a lot of similarities. I mean, to the point where you see whatever the vase type of a thing is behind the television. I mean, the whole thing is extremely similar. What Zynga argues is, listen, okay.
That's a lot of lamps.
Yeah, some of the ideas are obviously the same, but remember that this is all user-driven. I mean, the user decides to put somebody in a certain outfit or to have a certain kind of a, villain type moniker or to be in a place at a certain time. So we're offering all of these scenarios, but it is a choose your own adventure game, and it's not really it's not like a movie where we're ripping off the plot, because the plot gets created organically as you move along. It remains to be seen whether a judge is going to agree with them. Also, EA really only has one count. It's copyright infringement, so nothing about unfair competition, nothing about trademark infringement. But EA is a huge competitor. I mean, EA is the kind of company that can go against Zynga, make an example out of them if they choose to to stick with it as long as possible that I don't think Zynga has seen from anyone that's accused them of ripping off games before.
The video games are a tricky area because Zynga doesn't have a great reputation when it comes to this in the first place, but when it comes to making games, like how many ways can you have a side scroller or have a first-person shooter? These kinds of things, you can create your own implementation. However, The Sims is really particular because the way it works, it wasn't around before. They've pioneered a lot of elements that weren't seen before when it comes to just even having which character selected. There's an item above their head, like a diamond, I believe, that the Veil copied. It looks very similar. So the thing is, how many different ways can you have a simulation of people's lives, I guess? And if there's only one way to do it, then Zynga's fine. Because I mean, one of the cases I studied in school was about an asteroids clone, and the judge ruled basically because there's only so many ways to show a spaceship blowing up a rock that the competitor had, yes, a very similar looking design, but there's only one or two ways to do this, and that's the way we could make sure there was no infringement. So this could be pretty ugly because EA's got a lot of money. They can just fight Zynga like crazy, and Zynga's on the ropes when it comes to their stock prices. So they might. I really don't know what's going to happen between the two at all.
Do you think? I think a lot of people look at this and say, yes, EA should win. They had The Sims first. We love The Sims, and this is obviously a ripoff of The Sims. But John, do you think there could be a downside to EA winning?
I'm sure there could be if I sat there and thought about it long enough. Mostly what I think is that looking at the landscape for the social games that are out there, I'm amazed at how much of a homogenous landscape that is. If you try different games, you quickly realize that the vast majority of games that are out there are just lightly skinned versions of the exact same premise over and over. And to me, it's amazing we don't see more of these sort of things pop up more frequently in the news, because whenever I try them out, I think, oh, yeah, this is exactly that game. Only
this is Bejeweled. This is Tower Defense. I mean, there's only so many tropes, right?
This one is a resource management game that's set in a science fiction world. This one's set in a fantasy world. This one's set in a medieval world. This one's set in the Old West. This one's set as pirates. And they're all the same game with the same game mechanics. And I mean, you might have some different algorithms running in the background, but in general, they all have the same elements to them. It's just different graphics, really, is what it boils down to. So I'm amazed we don't see this more often, and maybe we will if EA prevails in this case. And part of me thinks, well, that's kind of a shame because you've got people who have actually legitimately worked hard to bring these games to life, even if the genesis of this game was someone else's idea. So that's kind of a tricky thing. But I would like to see it only in the sense that I think it makes people, it forces them to be more creative when they are designing the next generation of games.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with this is like, okay, John, as you were explaining, you start seeing these games over and over, and they sort of have slightly different premises. And again, I can make that same comparison to movies. You know, there's like certain shoot 'em up movies where you're like, I've seen this movie, I've seen this exact same plot, I know exactly what's going to happen. They're just set on space this time, kind of thing. You know, they're on Mars.
That's
right?
the way they pitch them. It's this movie meets this movie.
Exactly. But what ends up happening is you end up getting these movies that are like consistently less good. You know, they get a little bit crappier, and then you all of a sudden have the genre. It's like, oh, it's this cookie cutter thing that is never very good. There's just a formula that worked, so it's going to continue to work over time, you know, with generally good results. And I think that you see something like this, a game that Zynga creates, Zynga knows that it's a ripoff. The people at Zynga are not actually saying, this is a complete, you can only make a Sims type game a couple different ways. It's not our fault. I mean, they could do things a lot differently. Like, I mean, change the even just the
angle.
Yeah, the angle around a little bit. I mean, do a little bit better with the colors. That's just them trying to get away with as little extra work as possible for a formula that they know that works. So if they can be forced to have to change things even more so, make them.
I think the best analogy I can make is that it's very similar to the stereotypical romance novel, where you can almost replace the place names and character names with new ones and otherwise keep the text the same. It's that close of a cookie cutter kind of approach.
Yeah, then you call it the Diamond Club. It would shake things up a lot in the tech world if Apple bought Pinterest. That's not going to happen, but Apple might buy something similar.
Yeah, it's called the Fancy. Now, Business Insider is reporting that Apple's in talks to buy the Fancy, and it just sounds strange to keep saying they're going to buy the Fancy. But this site it's kind of like Pinterest. You can put a little bookmarklet in your browser. I guess you can fancy them. If you like something on the web, you fancy it, edit, pin it, or whatever. When you sign up friends, though, you receive credit. This actually is geared more towards online transactions. It lets the users directly purchase items posted by other users. And if you actually sell these items, you can say, oh, I can sell this too. You sign up with your merchant information and bank info. And it doesn't seem like Apple's thing. I mean, when they buy things, they usually just...
That dog?
I guess you could...
book.
What's the thing? It's a book.
Yeah.
Slash is reporting, by the way, the Fancy is at a point where it's got about 20 employees, and they earn about $10,000 a day because the Fancy takes a 10% cut of items sold on its site. Now, Apple doesn't exactly buy companies and then keep them around. What on earth would Apple be doing with a company that allows its users to sell items and buy items with each other?
We've covered the Fancy on iPad Today in the past, and it took me a while to even quite figure out what the Fancy's business model was, because when you first load it up, it kind of seems like, oh, this is some sort of a curated page, or service rather, to buy somewhat high quality things, that, stuff that a lot of geeks would like. Not that it's all electronic, certainly, but it does seem to appeal to a certain mindset. Now, I would even go a little bit further to say that Apple might consider the Fancy's general stuff on offer to be of the Apple buyer's mindset. You can kind of see how the two would to work together. But that's not really what's going on. I mean, it's not just a service like Fab who's working directly with merchants and being able to sell, a pair of shoes to me for, on sale type of a thing, where I'm pretty much buying from a wholesaler. This is that added person-to-person sale thing that doesn't seem like anything Apple would want to have anything to do with.
Here's my theory. Well, all of those reports that Apple was in talks to buy Twitter seem to have turned out to be only that Apple was talking to Twitter about integrating Twitter into the operating system and into iOS. And that has happened. And they're going to do that with Facebook as well. They're integrating Facebook into the operating system and into iOS 6. What if they're talking to the Fancy, not about acquisition necessarily, although maybe that's always on the table in these sorts of talks, but they want to integrate that into a service that they would provide. I'm not sure what service that would be, whether it would just be in the operating system. That seems a little weird. But it seems they may be looking more for a partner than an acquisition.
I'm just wondering if Apple's trying to branch out from... I mean, they have this person-to-person sale sort of through apps, right? You make an app, send it to Apple, and Apple sells it for you. So I guess in theory, maybe this would work for developers who are making their own...
for discovery.
For hardware, maybe, like little dongles for an iPhone, or like...
Or it could be for apps, too.
It could go any which way. I'm very curious about that. Maybe you can sell your music directly using something like this, because there's always this intermediary when it comes to Apple. I think there's a company that does that for music right now. You go through their account.
So it would just be sort of one other category within the iTunes marketplace?
Yeah,
it seems like it'd just be
further
potentially an Amazon
needing them
almost.
to change the name iTunes.
Waskell has a good thought in the chat room. He says it might just be about acquiring recommendation technologies, which we've seen Apple do that before. Acquire a company and not go into that company's business at all, but take the technology that they developed and put it into something totally different. John, do you have a guess?
I'd probably go with the partnership angle as well, Tom. I mean, this is the sort of recommendation thing. I mean, this is really a social tool. It's a tool where people say, hey, that looks really cool. I would love one of those things. Maybe I'm going to buy one of those things. I'm just going to click this little button that says, yeah, I think this is awesome. And then the little number ratchets up by a single digit. I don't know how sophisticated the recommendation engine is beyond that, apart from how does it choose which ones to feature on the main homepage as opposed to browsing the different sections. Apple purchasing this company outright, acquiring this company outright, it definitely mystifies me. I'm sure they would do it with good reason, but I honestly can't see it.
Let's finish up with a cautionary tale that was discussed in length on This Week in Tech, but I want to touch on it today. Matt Honan, a reporter for Wired, formerly of Gizmodo, had his Apple iCloud account hacked over the weekend. And not only that, but because his Twitter account was still connected to the Gizmodo account wasn't taken over, but they were able to post things to the Gizmodo account that Gizmodo didn't want up there. Here's what happened. Honan's iCloud account was breached, and they were able to use that to then get his password for Gmail and Twitter and wipe his iPhone, his iPad, and his MacBook Air. Do we have the clip ready, Jason, of him talking to Leo about it on TWiT this weekend? Here's him telling the story himself.
Home, just before 5 o'clock, and I started playing with my daughter, and my phone died, or it looked like it died, and I went to go plug it in, and when I plugged it in, it started up to the screen, the start screen, like the initial start screen that you get when you first get a new iPhone. It says plug into iTunes. And I thought, oh, that's weird, but, you know, things happen. And I went downstairs to connect it to my Mac, because I'd backed up really recently to my desktop, and restored from that backup. Oh, I'm sorry, I should say, when I tried to log into iCloud, it said my password was wrong, and I didn't think that much of it. I went downstairs, flipped open my MacBook, and it almost instantly went to a gray screen and asked for a PIN to log in, a 4-digit PIN. And at that point, I knew I had real problems. And what turned out that had happened was that someone had hacked into my iCloud account using basically social engineering techniques, and they were able to remote wipe my iPhone, iPad, and MacBook. And because I'm a terrible computer user, I hadn't backed up my MacBook in a really long time.
So now he's trying to get back photos of his kids. The Apple geniuses have his MacBook, trying to recover that. He's got a story up on Wired today that goes into more detail about what happened. And, of course, you can watch the full interview on TWiT at twit.tv. But really frightening that someone was able to just call up Apple and say, oh, yeah, I'm Matt Honan, but you know what? I can't remember my password, and I can't remember the answer to my security questions, and essentially socially engineer their way into getting into his account.
Yeah, you hear about this stuff every so often. I mean, I at least stuff that makes it into the news. And it's really disappointing because you have to believe that that's why those security measures are in place. So that at no point, whether it's me or someone pretending to be me, can easily get information that's supposed to be locked down. But it does happen because people are human, I guess.
I'm locked out of an Intuit account from filing for TurboTax like in 2001 because I forgot the password, and they're basically like, no, that's tax records. We're not messing with that.
This story always reminds me, I mean, there's the two sides, right? You've got the side where you condemn the Apple employee for falling for social engineering, which is something that we all could be vulnerable to depending upon the approach. And also then you have the side of the consumer who gets frustrated when they encounter these multiple levels of security just from a day-to-day user standpoint. So you have to balance that out when you are a company, figuring out what's the right approach so that you have the right security measures in place, but you don't have so many in place that you're actually inhibiting the experience for the user. And I think that the story is going to kind of unfold with three different conversations that are going to come out, one of which I think is a complete red herring, which is the cloud secure? And I think that's really, you know, this is, again, a social engineering thing. It's not a system. It's a person. So I think that's kind of a discussion that really doesn't need to happen in this case. But the other two would be the discussion about what do you do with social engineering? What's the right approach? What security system should you have in place so that if someone calls in, you are able to verify their identity? And the second part is the discussion about linking multiple accounts together so that you can log into various services using the same 2 or 3 accounts. And how vulnerable does that make you if one of those gets compromised? Because we're seeing that more and more too, where you're using a single account to log into multiple services, whether it's a Google account or a Facebook account. And the question is, well, if one of these falls, how much of my digital life ends up being opened up to hackers as a result? Now, in this case, a lot of his digital life was opened up. It was his Twitter account, his Google account, his Apple stuff. So this was the hackers got access to a lot of his digital property through one simple social engineering attack.
It's not something that happens commonly. So a lot of people are saying, see, the cloud is awful. And I don't think it means the cloud is awful. It means the cloud isn't perfect, but neither is anything else. Does this scare you away from using remote services at all?
No, I mean, it makes me wonder what exactly the steps should be to allow remote wipe. But I mean, theoretically, it's really to protect you that the remote wipe thing even exists. When it comes to, it's a new thing, I guess. I mean, for the masses to have remote wipe on their phones, this wasn't a thing. This was something that was meant for government usage and people who had these lockdown devices and they had secrets on it and all this kind of stuff. So you wanted the remote wipe, but it wasn't something that the general public had. Now it's becoming, security is so ingrained in every single OS that you have to worry about this. So hopefully it's just going to lead to better procedures in the long run, because this is a cautionary tale. This is simple. This happened. There needs to be better things in place so it doesn't happen again.
I think what frightens people is because it's out of your control, right? He admits that his password wasn't as secure as it should have been, but it was not used anywhere else. He was following a lot of the right procedures. And even if he had had a very secure password, it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
He wouldn't. They would have given him. They would have given over access to that account. So if there's PEBCAC on the end of the company managing your cloud system, there's nothing you can do about that. There is a certain amount of trust that they're not going to do that. That doesn't mean that you can't ever trust a company. Anybody who has money in a bank is trusting a company right now. So I'm not saying that every company is as trustworthy as a bank, or that banks are even all that trustworthy sometimes. But we do have systems put in place where we do say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna trust companies do this. We're building up those kinds of systems right now with cloud computing, and this is the kind of thing that actually advances security in that respect. Let's move on to the randomizer.
Randomizer.
So this isn't new, the idea of a console shocking you. This, we've been seeing this for 10, 12 years. I remember Screensavers did stories about Xboxes that shocked you.
Yeah, I don't know. The guys used to love those games. Who wants to get shocked?
Well, there's a Sega Genesis that has been modded using a shock collar meant for dogs. I've actually used those shock collars on myself just to see how bad they are. And all it does is just makes you all tingly. So it's not as bad as you think. But essentially, what this does is if you make a mistake in the game, you get that tingly shock.
Yeah, there's a video online if you want to see this. And the guys who hacked this together, if you play a game like Battletoads, when you die, you get zapped. If you're playing Sonic, if you die again or lose your rings, you'll get shocked. I mean, it just seems like the product's people who are really, really bored. Or if you want to become the best gamer in the world, I guess, if you really don't want to lose, this is one way to do it. It's just a little bit extreme for me.
John, this is the opposite of what games are supposed to spark the reward center of your brain. This does the opposite.
Well, it's the Japanese approach, right? A Japanese game show does not reward the winner; it punishes the loser. But I was going to say, attaching this to Battletoads, that's masochism right there. Have you ever played that game?
No
Yes, I have.
Incredibly hard. Oh my goodness, that's, talk about a game with a high failure rate. That you would never not be shocked.
All right, let's move on to the calendar. What's up, Sarah?
Well, the 21st Usenix Security Symposium is happening between August 8th and 10th in Bellevue, Washington. Later this week, usenix.org is the website to find more about that. AT&T is launching mobile shared data plans on August 23rd. Plans start at $40 for a gigabyte, goes all the way up to $200 for 20 gigabytes. After that, devices attached to the plan come with fees between $30 and $45 per smartphone. We've talked about this in the past, but it's happening finally. Nokia World 2012 is coming up in a month on September 5th. Bloomberg is reporting that we'll see new Windows Phone handsets by then.
Doesn't seem surprising, but yeah.
All right. And AT&T is shutting down its second generation, or 2G, wireless networks by 2017. Hold back your tears. I know this is tough to accept.
Edge.
It's continuing to upgrade its systems to faster technology and better use its limited airwaves.
What will I do at conferences when everyone's using 3G and I cleverly shut off 3G and I'm able to use the 2G network?
You'd be on
Tom,
HSP
don't
plus.
give away our secrets.
Oh, crap. Well, the network's going away anyway. It's too
Tin
late.
can and string, Tom.
Let's see what's incoming.
Incoming message.
Got a couple of voicemails today. Actually, one of them's not even a voicemail. It's actually a video mail from Sabriel about phone agents.
On episode 557 last Friday,
you were talking about how agents at cell phone companies would try to deter you from buying off contract or buying a phone outright. I am a victim of this as well. A few months ago, I went to buy a new 4S, and I asked, well, how much would my monthly payment be if I bought the phone outright? And he told me there would be no difference in the price at all. And I assumed that maybe I had just misunderstood or misread and gave in and just went with the monthly payment or subsidized price. And now I feel like the fool. Love the show, and have a good week.
A happy fool.
Yeah, no, I love getting the video voicemails. We haven't had those in a while, so thanks for sending that, Sabriel. And it is pretty awful, an awful feeling when you realize that somebody has hoodwinked you.
Yeah, I mean, that relates to the story where wireless carriers aren't pushing their other plans that could save you a lot of money, but that's just the way the agents are, I guess.
We also have a voicemail from a lawyer who gives us some clarification on that proposed Facebook settlement.
Hey guys, Gil from San Diego calling on Friday's show regarding the Facebook settlement and the judge's comments on it. Two things. First, the judge does have to approve a class action settlement and has to decide that it is a fair and reasonable settlement to the class. So the judge, it's not just the judge's opinion. The judge has total control over whether the settlement gets approved and can reject it. Second, there is a bit of a disconnect sometimes between the individual plaintiffs and the class, and that stems from the fact that even though the class may not get a big settlement, the individuals may get some little award from the court for being willing to take the case. So they can get anywhere from $1,000 to $20,000 each because they brought the case. So that could explain why these particular plaintiffs agreed to it. Obviously, the attorneys get the attorney's fees, and that's the motivation there. And then the class is not getting anything because it's changing the policies for the class, and that's the benefit the class gets. Clearly, the judge in this case doesn't seem to agree with that. Just wanted to clarify those 2 points. Thanks. Love the show. Bye.
Hey, thanks, Gil. It's good to hear from Gil. He's a longtime listener and good stuff. So because it's a class action.
Right, I misread the story. I was like completely. So I'm like, thanks for that clarification because I reread it and totally right. Thank you so much.
All right, that's it for this show. Thanks everybody for watching or listening, for submitting stories in our subreddit at technewstoday.reddit.com, which we use to help prepare for the show. And Jonathan Strickland, thank you not only for being on Tech News Today after staying up late, but being on our coverage yesterday of the Mars Curiosity rover. I know that How Stuff Works has a great article up on how the rover works. Tell them where they can find that, where they can find Tech Stuff Podcast and all the stuff you do.
Sure. HowStuffWorks.com is the place to go. We have tons of articles. We also have links to all of our podcasts, Tech Stuff being one of them. We've got lots more stuff you should know, stuff mom never told you, stuff they don't want you to know. Ooh. If it has stuff in the title, there's a good chance it's from us. So you can find all that at HowStuffWorks.com. Also, I wanted to mention, I mentioned this last night, but I got to do it again. Tonight on the Science Channel, because How Stuff Works is part of Discovery Communications, on the Science Channel tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific, there's going to be a special called Mars Landing 2012, The New Search for Life, which is going to be all about the Curiosity rover and what its mission will be and how it's going to go about attaining mission goals while it's on Mars. So check that out.
Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. And you can find us on the web, twit.tv/TNT. Email us, TNT@twit.tv, or give us a call. Our phone number is 260-TNT-SHOW. Lauren Good from All Things D joins us tomorrow. We'll see you then.